I want to talk about the ethics of steroids and how it relates to how fitness coaches market themselves and get fitness clients, because that's who we work with as fitness coaches. We help them get clients, and in the fitness industry there's a lot of people on some shit. So what are the ethics? What does it look like for us from our end, and how can you be a good person in this industry that feels like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around it? So first off, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong about people doing steroids. That's a personal decision. The problem is when you attribute supplements and, quote unquote programs to your success while being on enough steroids to kill a horse. And that's where the ethics are not in your favor, and we don't like to work with people that do that. If you're using yourself as your own marketing, then that is when it becomes an issue. But if you, let's say, for example, you are taking stuff, but you're using your client results to market your weight loss programs and stuff like that, that's a totally different story, because your drug use is separate from what you're using for marketing material, because you're using people you're actually working with. You're not saying, I look this way because I took this creatine brand, or this is how I did it by my program, when in reality, the drugs did a lot of the work there. So it depends on the nature of what they're using for their marketing. If it's themselves, it gets a little shady there. If it's their clients that they're working with who are natural and they get them great results, and that's who they're using for marketing, that's wonderful, and that's the way they should be doing it. I also personally think it's pretty easy to tell when somebody's on stuff. Like, I'm always surprised that people get shocked when professional athletes get busted. Like, most professional athletes are on performance enhancing drugs. They really don't test them as much as you think they do. There's ways to get around the testing. It's a lot more common than the average Joe thinks it is in professional sports. And especially in the fitness industry, it's pretty easy to tell when people are on stuff. And it's always amazing that people will question, oh, do you think this guy who won Mr. Olympia is on some stuff? Like, yeah, he won the Mr. Olympia. He's on stuff. So it's just funny. But getting back to my original point, I think the consumer is smart enough to know who's on stuff and who isn't most of the time. So from there, it gives you more of an objective judgment, because you can just look at the nature of what they're saying in their stuff. So if somebody is on steroids and they're marketing something, you can look at the marketing in a vacuum and be like, does this person know what they're talking about? Does this look legit? Separate from their obvious drug use. So you can look at their offer if they have something like lose 20 pounds in the next 90 days. That's totally feasible for most natural people, especially people that have a lot more than 20 pounds to lose. That's reasonable. But if it's a little too good to be true, that's the best kind of litmus test for this stuff. Does it sound too good to be true? And that's where we kind of get into the weeds of people can post transformation pictures of their clients and stuff, or of themselves, and you don't know if in 10 weeks somebody really lost 50 pounds, something crazy like that. You can't do that without drugs, So we don't like to work with coaches that are clearly on stuff and they're using themselves as promotional stuff. Just to kind of bring this full circle, you have to look at, one, what they're saying in their offers and in their marketing. Is it legit? Is it backed by science, regardless of whether or not they've made the personal choice to use steroids or not? And two, do they have the results to back it up? Are they training people who are natural? Do these natural people have the results that would then be good marketing material to use from there? So that's kind of my opinion on it. I don't think people should attack people who've made that choice. It just depends on what they're doing with that. And I think you can maintain integrity while using those drugs if you've chosen to do that.